morning. My name's Tony Clark. I'm from Sailing Gurus, and I'd like to welcome you to our introduction video on Reality. Reality is a brand new 46-foot Lagoon, and together Captain Gary Brown and myself have just spent the last 10 days doing some owner tuition for Gary and a shakedown sale to commission this new Lagoon 46, basically to go live in the Med for 2 years and then travel the world. The purpose of the video is just to give an introduction to our services and really get the thoughts of Gary as to how the last 10 days have been and really what we've done on this Lagoon 46. So I'll pass it over to you, Gary, if you wouldn't mind just giving an introduction in terms of what the purpose of the 10 days was.
Yeah, okay, so the idea of the 10 days was really to get a good shakedown sale on it, learn the learn the systems, look for any faults that we could find so we can get those fixed before we take it down to the Med in 6-7 weeks time. I've never owned a sail yacht before. I've had a couple of sport boats, but they were many years ago, so it was quite new to me to order a boat, something I'd never done before. And then when you go through the commissioning process, although you get some sort of tuition from the dealer, which in this case was Ancaster, they've done a fairly good job in all fairness on the handover, but it is just a real quick sort of 1 day tuition on the boat systems, and there's so much to take on board you can't remember what they've taught you, so it comes in handy when you've got somebody that kind of has worked these systems or similar systems before and can go through them and explain in more detail what these systems do and how they operate. So this wasn't just about getting this boat out and sailing it and finding out what she was like in sailing conditions, although I think we were both quite pleasantly surprised. She sailed quite well, didn't she?
The new Lagoon 46, I have to say, it's a great boat. It's a great livable boat, and she's performed really well. I think almost beyond expectations in some ways. Yeah,
I mean, I had a little bit of knowledge on the fact that I'd watched so many videos of people that have got this particular boat. People like Sailing Joy, Sailing Noma, Sailing Maximum. There are 3 boats alone that I follow that are people travelling around the world and stuff on these Lagoon 46s, and I've been following them for over a year or so, so I kind of had an understanding as to what these boats were capable of, but there's nothing like actually putting it into real terms, is there?
No, absolutely. And we had some challenges when we got on the boat, in that we had things like Iridium Go.
Yeah, so the Iridium Go is a piece of kit that we added to the boat so that we can get satellite communication, although very slowly. From that, if you've got predict wind, you can then download your grid files, and that was an issue that I couldn't resolve, and Tony kind of took over with other systems as well, and with his sort of knowledge of IT background and his knowledge of yachting and stuff, we was able to get those put into place so that we can then start using those for when we're offshore doing passages, being able to get weather predictions, which is a very important part of offshore sailing. So that was really good. We had a couple of issues, didn't we? The VHF radios went down.
We've had a couple of issues that we're working through. The nice thing is that the purpose of the 10 days was really to test all the equipment,
find the faults,
and get familiar with it. And we've come across a few issues. We've managed to work through some, but we're back on the dock with Ancaster. They've got a nice list of jobs to do.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's a massive list, but they've got the VHF radios that we've done an update on the B&G system, and the VHF radios just went down. But we needed a handheld VHF radio, so good advice from Tony was to let's get that bought, let's get the MMSI number put in that, so at least now we've got VHF radio back on board. So there was a day or two that we didn't have any VHF radios. So that's one job they've got to do. The B&G doesn't turn off, it keeps rebooting itself unless you turn it off from the power source, which is not what you're supposed to do. So the B&G needs updating. What else did we come across in terms of issues? A couple of little minor bits on the bodywork they need to polish from where the factory's built it. Kind of just minor cosmetics, but just trying to think what else we've got.
I mean, there's a number of things. We've worked through them. Yeah, it's just using the systems. It's using we've used the water maker. We've used we actually have a joystick that we use downstairs, so we've just tested all the systems.
Yeah, it was the first thing you done when you got on board because you got on board a day early. We was meant to start on Monday.
Yeah.
You got on board with me on Sunday, so we had a day's head start. And the first thing you done was literally say, let's get to know all these systems. Where is everything? What does everything do? And you was kind of doing a shakedown to it before we left the dock. A day before we left the berth. So yeah, you really got on with knowing where everything was, checking things out, which was really good. Yeah, so the 10-day sail itself, we've been spoilt because of the weather as well, wouldn't we? Couldn't have asked for better weather.
We've had an incredible week. The pair of us said, coming up to the handle back towards Mercury Marina, should we just go back out for those 10 days?
we did. Yeah. Yeah, we've had Mediterranean weather, in fact, haven't we?
Yeah, we've had a fantastic time in terms of learning. We've had a fantastic time in terms of company as well.
Yeah, the company's been great. I mean, we met 2 years ago at the BVI, didn't we? Yeah. So that's how I got to meet Tony. I was in the BVI 2 years ago, just kind of resitting my day skipper course, which I kind of passed in 1995. And as my dream of purchasing a boat, which has been a 45-year dream, by the way, it's kind of started to come to reality. That's why the boat's called Reality. I decided 2 years ago in January 2020 to go out to the BVIs and resit my day skipper course. And I was Tony's first client, wasn't I?
First client in the BVIs.
Yeah, not first client in your sailing life.
Hurricane Irma had closed the base that I was working for, Maureen Sunsail, and it had actually closed the BVIs down for 3 years in terms of the school. So I went out to the BVIs, reopened the school for Sunsail, and Gary was there for my very first week teaching in the BVIs.
Yeah, so that's how we met originally, just over 2 and a bit years ago. And at the same time as being out there with you, I told you I was buying a boat. Told you my dream was to buy one, and I'm sure you've heard it many times before from clients, and you never hear no more. But I said to Tony that I may require his services if he's available when I bought my boat. And anyway, on Facebook and other social media platforms, we've kind of kept in contact and seen what each other's up to. And of course, Tony started to realise that no, that means buying a boat, because I put on Facebook that I placed an order on a Lagoon 46. And then, as the order was going through and the options were going on in the factory, I was getting closer to a delivery date. And in November of 2021, I contacted Tony to say, look, this boat's now in the UK, and there's sort of a 3-month process of dealer options being fitted to it. I mean, this boat is quite well fitted out, isn't it?
To be honest, Gary, the boat's top specifications, top of the range. There's probably not one gadget, one thing that doesn't open and close we don't have.
No, I mean, you could probably go for the teak flooring, which I don't want to go for yet. I might add that later on. But other than the teak flooring, I didn't want the electric hydraulic tender lift at the back because it's too heavy and it makes the boat hobby horse. But yeah, so no, it's a well fitted out boat for four-wheel cruising, for livable basically. This is not a high performance catamaran by any means. In fact, it's probably one of the slightly slower catamarans in terms of speed, but it's been bought more for the fact that 80% of the time you're at anchor or at marina, and I want it as a good, comfortable, livable base. I'm actually not a yachtsman. I'm not actually into the sailing side that heavily. So that's one of the things that we've decided to do, is to upgrade the sails to a boom.
That's it, in boom further. Yeah. In terms of, you're not a hardcore sailor, but you want to get around the world in comfort. Yeah. Without spending a fortune on diesel. That's really the plan, isn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Which this boat is absolutely ideal for. So we've also gone through the sails. We sailed the boat quite a bit. Yeah. Probably up to about 27 knots apparent wind. Yep. And she performs lovely. So we've had a few reefs in. Yeah. We've got single line reefing system on our mainsail with a square cut top. Yeah. That performs very well. It's a safety and ease of use thing that we decided to go for in boom furling. Just the fact of having to get up on top of the fly bridge and organise the lines.
Yeah, it's not that I don't, I'm not capable of doing it. I am, but I haven't decided to sail around the world and make it difficult for myself. I've decided to sail around the world and make it nice and comfortable. And I think the inline boom furling system takes all those reefing lines out upstairs.
Yeah,
Stops
so
them getting on the roof.
Yeah.
Because this has got a fly bridge with a high roof, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. So yeah, that in boom furling, it's going to be one button up and down, which I can't wait till it's being installed, because I'll be like a kid with another new toy.
You will be. You will be. But you've had a lot of fun sailing this boat as well, haven't you?
Oh, it's been a brilliant week. I think we've both had a lot of fun.
Amazing,
Yeah.
absolutely. It's not just been about the sailing and learning the systems, it's also been actually getting out there and doing what you go sailing for,
Yeah.
which is to see beautiful places. And I think I've kind of opened your eyes a little bit to just how beautiful the south coast of England is,
Yeah.
especially the Jurassic coast.
Yeah.
The places we've been have been fantastic.
Yeah, so this week hasn't just been about a shakedown sail in terms of going out from Mercury Marina, which is on the Hamble River on the southwest coast